What's good, everyone? It's the one and only NY Phenom. If you guys enjoy NFL, NBA content, want to see some gaming content in the near future, give this video a like. And if you're new, go and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Now, let's go ahead and get into this video. Alright, guys, so team previews, man. Starts right now, man. The NFL team previews of 2019 are finally here. And, yeah, let's just go ahead, let's get into it, man. I wanted to drop this video yesterday, but got caught up into some stuff. So, yeah, we're starting today. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. Now, like I said in my last video when I was talking about the AD situation with the Lakers, I told you guys that the first division I was going to start with was the AFC North. And we're gonna start with the most exciting team, probably the most exciting team of the all season. Just the moves that they make, the hype around this team, just everything surrounding, the atmosphere, man. We're gonna start with the Cleveland Browns, man. I know there's a lot of Cleveland Browns fans out there, some new Cleveland Browns fans, some Odell Beckham fans, man. We're gonna speak on this, man. We're gonna speak on the Cleveland Browns 2019 to 2020 team preview, man. And boy, don't we have a lot to speak on, man. Don't we have a lot to speak on. Now, before I do talk about the Cleveland Browns, I do want to say that I'm going to list the teams like this. It's going to go from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3, tier 4, and team 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go by tiers because I'm not going to do official, what I expect the record to be. I'm not going to tell you guys if they're going to go 10-6, 16-0, 5-11. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do that later on. Once we get closer to the end of training camp, closer to preseason, I'm going to do a full video giving my records for all teams in pretty much one video. So that's not what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just list teams from tier 1 to tier 5. Now, the thing is, tier 1 is the highest you can be for a team, and tier 5 is the lowest you can be. So, pretty much being if we're doing it based off of last year, the Patriots would be probably tier 1, and the Cardinals would be tier 5. That's how we're doing it for this upcoming team preview. So, I just want to get that all out the way. So, now let's go and speak on the Cleveland Browns. All right, so the Cleveland Browns, man, had a very interesting offseason. They got a bunch of young talent out there. Of course, they made the Odell Beckham trade that, just shocked the whole entire NFL community. But man, they got a lot of young talent. They did a lot of other moves that weren't as big as the Odell trade, like the Oliver Vernon from the Giants. That was a great pickup, but yeah, let's go and speak on it, man. Baker Mayfield, of course, we got to speak on the quarterback. Baker Mayfield made a splash last year in his rookie season. Just showed that he was a leader at, week 3, when he took the position from Tyrod Taylor. And, ever since that game against the Jets, he's the face of the franchise, man. And it's interesting with the new head coach that they went with this all season, and Freddie Kitchens. That was kind of surprising to me because I felt that Greg Williams, I thought he had the locker room, but I guess they want to go with a more offensive-minded coach, which I guess I could see because their team, their star players are based on the offensive side. At least most of their star players are based on their offensive side. So it's going to be interesting, man. You got Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. You got the whole entire squad there. Even their tight end is pretty solid. Man, I've seen some crazy projections for this team. I've seen people say that this team is they're Super Bowl champion contenders. I've seen the Vegas odds. They're the second projected team to win the Super Bowl or something crazy. People are saying this is the Patriots killer. We'll see. But, based on how I see things, they made a lot of moves. almost similar to what the Rams did last year, where they just brought in a lot of stars out of nowhere with a Queen Talib, Sue, Marcus Peters, Brandon Cooks. I mean, it's kind of similar to what the Rams did all last year. So it feels like the Browns, even though they're a pretty young team, it feels like they're in win-now mode. Of course, we know that the history of the Cleveland Browns, I mean, they haven't been that good in previous years. Now, last year was a pretty good year for Cleveland Browns expectations going into the year. But the year before, we already know about 0-16. The year that they had RG3 starting, they went like 1-15. During the Hugh Jackson era, pretty much. It wasn't the best, but they brought in Freddie Kitchens, who's an offensive-minded coach. So, I mean, I expect the Browns to put up big numbers, you know. Now, the thing is that I do worry about the offense is I'm not sure how the O-line is going to play. Now, it seemed like the O-line was pretty decent last year, but a lot of people don't recognize with that Odell trade, they did have to give up one of their star young offensive linemen, or one of your offensive linemen who were starting last year. I can't remember his name. I think it was Kyle Singler. Not Kyle Singler, but some dude with a last name that started with Z that was pretty decent. He's headed to New York. So, I mean, I thought that's pretty interesting. But, I mean, when you got a team like, you got Baker Mayfield, who looks like he's already a top 15, a top 20 quarterback in the NFL. You have Nick Chubb, and a lot of people forget that the Browns did sign Kareem Hunt. And we already know what Kareem Hunt was looking like before the incident with the Chiefs. Now, we do know that he's going to serve like a 10-game suspension. So, I mean, look, the Browns just have to be pretty decent until Kareem Hunt gets there. If Kareem, that's going to be interesting, though. How are they going to split carries with Nick Chubb, who had a really good rookie season last year, really proved that he can be a starting running back in the NFL. And then you got Kareem Hunt, who we already know was like nearly a top 5 running back last year before everything that went down. But that's going to be interesting, man. It's just a lot of talent on this team. You got Odell playing that outside receiver. So you got Callaway, who looked pretty good last year, man. Callaway really impressed me. And, of course, you got Jarvis Landry in that slot position. I mean, we already know the connection that Odell Beckham and Jarvis have. I mean, they're best friends off the field. Go all the way back to their younger days before they even made it to the NFL and college. And we got a pretty decent tight end, man. I can't pronounce his name. I mean, I'm not the best with names, but David, dude's name is like David Natukwa. I don't want to be blasphemous. So I'm sorry if the tight end is watching the video. You're probably not, but if you are watching the video, I'm sorry for butchering your name. It's a pretty hard name to pronounce, but the tight end, he was really solid, really young tight end, showed mad potential last year. But the offense, you got offensive head coach now, and you got a bunch of offensive talent. We expect the offense to perform. You got pretty much maybe a top 10 or top 5 offense in the NFL. I don't think I'm going overboard with that. I mean, just the talent on there is exceptional. But we spoke on the offense a good amount. We know what this offense is going to look like. We know that this offense should be really explosive going into this season. One of the most explosive offenses going into the 2019-2020 season. But, you know, offense is only 50% of the game, and you gotta have you have to have a good defense to balance that out. So let's go and speak on that defense, man. And let's go start it off now with no Greg Williams. I'm wondering what the defense is. If they're gonna still play a 4-3 is what I'm expecting. But I wonder what they're gonna do with what type of schemes are they gonna run, because I know Greg Williams from back in the day loved the blitz. That was his big thing, was just blitzing. I wonder what they're gonna do now. But let's speak on the defensive personnel, man. Let's talk about this defensive line, that nasty defensive line up in that Midwest in Cleveland, man. I'm gonna be real, man. Cleveland got a nice defensive line, man. Cleveland defensive line is looking really nice. I think that's probably one of the most underrated parts of their team. I mean, we can talk all day about their offense. I mean, I just spend a good amount talking about their offense, but man, that defensive line is real stout, man. Let's go and speak on it. We already know about Myles Garrett. Of course, he was the first overall pick in that 2017 draft. We already know he's a monster. We don't really have to speak on that. That's known. That's known all around the NFL. But a lot of people don't recognize, man. They picked up a Sheldon Richardson, man. For you guys who don't know who Sheldon Richardson is, great defensive tackle, man. Really solid. I mean, from the Jets to the Seahawks to the Vikings. I mean, he's been a really good defensive tackle everywhere he's been, man. And I know Browns fans are real upset that they weren't able to land Gerald McCoy. Of course, that would put them over the top. Maybe gave them the best defense line in the NFL. But you still got Sheldon Richardson out there, man. Great defensive tackle, man. Great. And then they have another young defensive tackle who, his name is hard to pronounce. It starts with an N, but he really impressed me last year. So you got two solid defensive tackles, and you have Myles Garrett. And when you play that 4-3, you need another defensive tackle. And they brought in somebody named Oliver Vernon, man. For you guys who don't know Oliver Vernon, he was one of the best defensive linemen last year for the Giants. Now, he wasn't able to play that much last year due to injury, so you're hoping that he doesn't catch the injury bug or doesn't bring the injury bug to Cleveland. But when Oliver Vernon is healthy, man, he's a really good defensive lineman that can play that outside. He can rush the passer from the outside. I mean, their defensive line is stout, man. Salute to the Browns' defensive line, man. That's one of the most underrated parts of their team. And I know they don't get that much media press because it's the defensive line. And for people who don't love football, like me and probably most of the people that's watching this video, I mean, they could care less. They could care less. They like the Baker Mayfields and the Odell Beckhams and the Jarvis Landrys, you know. But no, real football heads like us know what the defensive line can do. Just ask what the Rams did last year. Just ask what they did, man. So, salute to that Cleveland Browns defensive line. Now, let's speak on this linebacker core. And I know I just gave you guys a lot of praise about your defensive line. And yes, your defensive line is real stout. And defensive lines are important in this NFL. Like, you know, if you have a really good defensive line that can get some pressure on the quarterback, stop the run, I mean, you're in a good situation, man. You're in a really good situation. But we gotta speak on this linebacking core, man. The linebacking core is not looking great. This is probably the biggest weakness on your defense, and probably the biggest weakness on your entire team is that linebacking core, man. You know, I know you guys drafted somebody in the 3rd round that played linebacker, but I know linebacker. I mean, I know some rookies can make impacts coming in, but he was drafted in the 3rd round, so I mean, I'm not sure what the Browns are expecting or how much pressure they're gonna put or how much of the linebacking load is this rookie finna get. So that's gonna be interesting. But I mean, you have some young names like Christian Kirky that play linebacker. I know Oliver Vernon has played linebacker at times in New York, but I expect him more to be on that defense and rushing the quarterback. But I mean, the defensive line looks pretty shaky. I mean, the linebacking core looks pretty shaky. I mean, it really does. Yeah, man, the linebacking core is really shaky, and I even think missing Jabril Peppers is gonna hurt, because we all know Jabril Peppers, him getting shipped to New York. The thing about Jabril Peppers is when he plays strong safety, he could play in the box. He could go ahead and play inside close to where the linebackers play and be there to stop the run. He could guard tight ends. I mean, Jabril Peppers is a really good box safety, man. I think that's going to hurt a bit. especially when it comes back to that linebacking core. That's gonna be huge, man. You guys, hopefully, whoever your defensive coordinator is, hopefully he can get the most out of this linebacking core, because I mean, this linebacking core is not looking good, man. It's not. It's gonna take a lot of improvement. Whether that's going ahead and signing some linebackers from the free agency. Personally, I don't know that many linebackers that's in free agency right now. I think you guys should have went after someone like a Thomas Davis. Yeah, I think Thomas Davis would have been a big pickup for you guys. I think that would have been a great pickup, but we all know that he went to San Diego. And yeah, that's the biggest part, man. It's going to be interesting to see what you guys do when it comes to your linebackers, because that's a huge weakness, man. And I know linebackers, they don't get enough shine by the media, but look, linebackers are huge, man. Linebackers are huge. This ask my Seahawks, man. We had the big names in Richard Sherman's and Cam Chancellor's and Earl Thomas's and Cliff Avrils, but look, we had those linebackers controlling the middle, man, being the leaders out there on that defensive line, aka Bobby Wagner, aka KJ Wright, aka Malcolm Smith, man. Linebackers are huge, man. And I know it's not the biggest thing. It's not the most attractive thing when it comes to football, but linebackers play a huge part of defenses, man. And you're going to need some linebackers, man. But it's going to be interesting what they do about that. But that's the biggest thing that worries me when it comes to their defense. Now let's go and speak on that secondary, man. Yo, I'm liking this secondary, man. I'm actually liking this secondary, man. Look, it looks like a defense. This secondary looks like they can make some plays. Of course, you got Denzel Ward, who made a big splash last year. Was one of the best defensive rookies last year. They have some pretty solid cornerbacks that I see there. I saw Terrence Mitchell. He's a good veteran. Yeah, you got some nice, solid veterans in that at that cornerback situation, but you guys also drafted Greedy Williams in the second round, and I'm shocked that he dropped all the way to the second round. Yeah, he seemed going into the draft combine, he was projected to be a top 15 pick. He slided all the way to the second round. And yeah, this guy has potential to be a lockdown quarterback, man. I don't know what was the thing. I think there was some incident that happened, I guess, that made him drop. I know his run defense, I know he's had issues at stopping the run, but I mean, Greedy Williams coming from LSU. LSU has some really good cornerbacks coming from their school. Of course, you got Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu. The Jackson dude that plays in Carolina. I mean, you have some really good secondary players that come from LSU, and I mean, this guy, Greedy Williams, has potential to be greedy on that defensive side, man. Has real potential to be a lockdown cornerback, and when you got some young talent where you can have Denzel Ward on one side and Greedy Williams on the other side, it's going to look scary for some teams to throw out there. Seems like you might have potential to have a cornerback core where you can do something like what Jacksonville has right now, where you have two lockdown cornerbacks in Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye. Two stout cornerbacks, man. You can never go wrong with two stout cornerbacks who can make plays on the ball. The thing is, though, the safety position. Safety position. You guys lost to Bill Peppers. I think a lot of people underrated Jabril Peppers, man. Just the way he can play in the box. He really reminded me of something like Landon Collins, and I think that's the reason why the Giants got Jabril Peppers, of course, with Landon Collins heading to Washington. But I think Jabril Peppers played a big part of y'all safety position. I'm trying to see now what y'all did at safety. It says that y'all drafted someone in the 4th round. But yeah, like I said, man, rookies, you never know what you can expect from rookies. I mean, especially in the 4th round. Especially in the 4th round. Usually, when defensive players come in and make an impact, it's usually in that 1st round. Maybe some 2nd rounders come in and make a good impact, but I mean, dude's a 4th rounder. So it's looking like safety might be another weakness for y'all, man. Now, I gave y'all cornerback some praise, but safeties are safeties, man. You play the back end, and some safeties like Jabril Peppers come and help the run and guard tight ends. So this is gonna be really interesting. Maybe safeties are just as big as a weakness as y'all linebackers, man. And that's interesting at the least, man. Very interesting. Now, y'all defense, see, the thing about the safeties is, if y'all cornerbacks struggle, you need a good safety out there. So, I mean, with these cornerbacks being young, who knows? Maybe Greedy Williams, he needs to adjust to the NFL. Maybe he needs some time to adjust to the NFL. What happens if Denzel Ward has a sophomore slump? The secondary could turn into shambles. But, you know, Greedy Williams has mad potential. Denzel Ward showed that he had mad potential, you know, having a great rookie season last year. So, I'm going to give y'all a secondary, I guess, a thumbs up. That safety position still seems kind of suspect. Maybe the thing is, you guys go out to Eric Berry, man. You guys still have cap space. I mean, I could see you guys going out there, Eric Berry. You know, throw him some money, see if he shows up, and maybe you get a Pro Bowl level court safety in Eric Berry. So I think that would be the best move for the Browns, is to go after Eric Berry, especially if you guys can't. If there's no linebackers really out there to make a move, I would go after Eric Berry. But that's pretty much my entire breakdown on the Browns. Now, of course, at the end, since I'm at the end breaking down how I feel about the team, I'm going to give them, of course, I'm going to rank them out the 5 tiers. And I know a lot of people have the Browns, they'll say easily from the talent they have to be a top 1, top 2 tier. I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna give them the average tier 3, and I know that might seem pretty harsh. So I know Browns fans, they probably cursing at me right now, like, well, what are you talking about the Browns? So you can't name a more talented team. And look, you guys, your talent is undeniable. You guys have talent out the. You guys might have a top 5 team on paper, you know. But we all know that football is more than on paper. We've seen a lot of teams on paper that, put up a super team, aka the 2011 Eagles, that came and had a super team. I'm talking about a team on paper that looked talented, but the chemistry. I mean, you gotta have chemistry in the NFL, man. This is different, man. The NFL is not the NBA. Football is not basketball, man. In the NBA, you have 82 games to adjust to how your team plays. You know, get used to your teammates for 82 games. You have time to get ready for the playoffs. NFL is 16 games, man. You gotta come out. You gotta come out early and make a statement. And that's hard to do when you have so many new players and with big personalities, big skill. They all want to get playing time, they all want to have the touches. Like, you don't think Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham want to have over 1,000 yards by the end of the season? Yeah, they both want to have 15 touchdowns. But look, But in NFL, I mean, everything is a team sport, but I think football is the ultimate team sport because you need everybody. Everybody. Your quarterback can't do nothing if your wide receivers can't catch. Your running backs can't do nothing if your offensive line can't block. Your offensive line can't block if your passes can't throw and your running backs can't run. I mean, football is the ultimate sport, man. And a team that's, I don't have no issues with teams that constructed in one season. I mean, look, I just mentioned the Rams. They did what the Browns are pretty much doing right now, and they had success. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They ultimately lost, but they still made it to the big game. But the Browns, it looks like they following the same method that the Rams are going. They're going all in, and the thing is, man, the young, and you like to have a young team, but at the same time, you want to have veterans that have been there and done that with real experience, especially when it comes playoff time. So I'm gonna have to put them in the tier 3, man. I'm gonna have to put them in the tier 3. I have to see what this team looks like once the NFL season comes. Now, I could be wrong. They come out strong. They already got the chemistry going and everything. Both sides of the field. Their linebackers are playing together. Their defensive line is just dominant. Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward are both making plays, but I mean, that's going to be a lot to tell. A lot of this is going to be on Baker Mayfield's shoulders and Freddie Kitchens, the new head coach. That's another thing. You got a new head coach. I believe this is Freddie Kitchens' first time being the head coach in the NFL. I mean, you play in a division, and honestly, I think a lot of people think this division is not that good. Let's keep it a buck, man. The Steelers and Ravens aren't going anywhere, and Andy Dalton, a lot of people think the Bengals are just terrible. I'm telling you guys, the Bengals are looking like a playoff team before everything went down last year, before all the injuries went down last year. And we know a healthy Andy Dalton teams usually make the playoffs. I mean, they didn't make it in that one year in 2017, but they went like 4 years straight. Last year they hit the injury bug. So this is a tough division, man. We already know about the Steelers and Ravens. And the Browns, they just haven't had the best. They haven't been that good in the previous years, man. They've been like pretty much the clown show of the NFL, man. But it's a new year, new season. One of the most talented teams in the NFL, and I could be wrong, man. I could be wrong, but I mean, tier 3, that's like a team that could be a playoff team or could be a team that just misses it. That's pretty much what I expect from the Browns. Now, of course, like I said, when it comes to my NFL team previews, I'm not going to put record, and I'm not going to give like a record prediction. That's going to be for another video later when training camp is nearly over and we're hitting preseason. So that's pretty much how I'm going to do things, man. This video has been way too long, but I mean, the Cleveland Browns, they had a crazy offseason. Oh yeah, and another thing, Duke Johnson, man. What they gonna do with Duke Johnson? Duke Johnson, we all know that he's a talented running back. He has pretty much the Alvin Kamara prototype where he can catch the ball at the backfield, make some plays, make some people miss. But he wants his money, man. And as I would say, I'll be like, get your money too. So, he's holding out right now. I wonder what they're going to do with that. Of course, you got Nick Chubb, who's going to be their starting running back come week 1. And, they already have Kareem Hunt. Once this suspension comes, we already know that's a superstar running back. So, I wonder what they're going to do with Duke Johnson. I heard that Baker Mayfield, he voiced his opinions about it. Some veterans in the locker room are already upset about it. So, it's already looking like something, man. Look. The Raiders Hard Knocks is going to be amazing, but I wouldn't mind another Browns Hard Knocks, man. There's a lot of things going on in this offseason, so yeah, that's going to be real interesting, man. But that's pretty much my whole entire breakdown of the Cleveland Browns. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Still got 3 other teams to do in the AFC North, so we're going ahead and we're going to get to it, man. But that's pretty much all I really want to say. If you guys enjoy NFL, NBA content, want to see some gaming content in the near future, give this video a like. And if you do, go subscribe to the channel while you at it. I'm the Phenomenal One, and I'm out. Deuces.